President. I'm a resident of the city of Clarkston, and I'm a longtime resident here of the city of Clarkston. I consider myself to be a stakeholder, and I don't feel that Mr. Mohammed's question was answered. We've here for a long time, and we have 6 stakeholders. Who are they that are representing us in this session that's just been held? Let's hear who these 6 stakeholders are, or what are they?
Are any stakeholders that were interviewed here? Could you please stand up? All right, here they are. And so, Bob Zegler, Bob, let's just a small bit about who you are.
I'd be happy to. My name is Bob Zegler. I'm an attorney. I was in Atlanta City Attorney's Office for 15 years. The land use practice that I have is in zoning and planning. I'm very familiar with the code structure here in the city of Atlanta, the city of Clarkston. I have a small firm, does local governmental work. I lived in Decatur until last weekend when I moved to just outside, 2 houses outside of Clarkston, over off of Capella. My wife teaches ESL over at the school here. And I consider myself to be mostly conversant with the local, sort of professional, local governmental investment issues that are discussed by organizations like ULI, but also feel very strongly about what's going on in Clarkston and what its history is and where it's going. You know, one thing that I would just mention is that, well, I'll stop there, but the status quo of Clarkston is what you see. And when you get people that are coming in, an investment that is coming in to the city of Clarkston, I think it's very helpful. But anyway, that's my point.
Thank you, Bob. Let me just back up. And so, when staff discussed identifying stakeholders for this process, they gave us some specific requests. They said, Jason and Keith, we would like for you to identify someone that would represent the refugee business community. We did that. That was Mr. Tedros Alagilis. They said, Keith, we would like for you to identify someone who represents most of the apartment complexes. We know one of the owners or managers of apartment complexes. So we identified Michelle Parker, who is the manager for all the Carriage Oaks apartments. They also said, Keith, that would be good. Her name is not up there. We need someone who is in an ownership position of some of your major commercial retail. And so we went out and got Alice Jameson, who is the owner of Clarkston Village, retail development. They also said we need a couple of residents. Maybe someone who is maybe active in city government, maybe someone who's had some experience, recent experience, with your city hall and some of your processes. So we reached out and got Doug Guest, and I'm going to let Doug tell you a little bit about himself. Doug will be moving to Clarkston in a couple of weeks, he and his family. He's been working in and around and involved in Clarkston for 2 years. Doug and his wife Karen, who's here, bought the Carroll Estates subdivision. And so he's a resident and someone who obviously has gone through the development process and has some recent experience with City Hall in that process. And we thought that he would be an ideal person to be instructive regarding that. And, we wanted somebody who could know some good stuff and the bad stuff as well. And then Beverly Burks, who is a resident here for 10 years, African-American female who lives in Market Walk subdivision. And so the individuals that we saw were based on the profile that the ULI committee gave us. Let me also mention that we had 2 other individuals. We understand that the refugee and immigrant population in Clarkston is significant. And so we wanted to get more information, the panel wanted to get more information about the impact and the challenges that are present with working with a refugee population. And so for our dinner speaker, we had Jeremy Lewis. Many of you know Jeremy Lewis, who is the executive director of the Clarkston Development Foundation. Then we also had J.D. McCrary and Emily Helton, who represent the International Rescue Committee, and Emily, Executive Director of the Refugee Family Services. And so those are 8 individuals that we chose based on the profile that the ULI gave us and that we thought were representative. I personally think that they did an excellent job of representing the community. In these sort of processes, I mean, you can't interview everybody, okay? And so if you feel like, Mr. Muhammad, that we missed somebody, then let us know who that person is, and I would be delighted to sit down with them and to get as much information as I can that I can pass on to the Mayor and Council. We're not being exclusionary at all, but it's a challenge if you say we have a certain amount of time, we need to interview 6 stakeholders, and then you say, well, there are 6,000 other people that you didn't interview. If there's someone that you would like for us to interview, let me know personally and we'll make that happen.
Are there other questions?
Yes. My question is for Terry Johnson. I know everybody here is talking about communication. As we all know, there are 59 languages and 129 dialects just in the city of Clarkston. Do you have a plan in place to curb the language barrier? And if so, could you share with us? And I also wanted to know, for a first-time entrepreneur like myself, who's a certified interpreter, where do I get information about getting proper support in trying to help curb some of the translation interpreting? Because we're all talking about communication, but how are we getting it? I mean, you can put it online all day, but if someone understanding what you're trying to say, I feel like they will be losing battle because you work so hard to get the information in the first place. So how are you going to curb the 59 languages and the 120 dialects that you're talking about? Schools, hospitals, and Clarkston is diverse as you're talking about.
I think it goes back to, like you said, the engagement. I will say that speaking with the city staff, the website will have a multi-language interpreter placed on it. So based on that language, they will be able to go and convert it based on the native language. I think the next thing is, you're right, there has to be a relationship with people such as yourself in the community who can help bridge that gap. Because the traditional and non-traditional still may not work based on their culture. And we need to understand that. So I would say definitely the city is open. They need to embrace your services, please engage. They're very open. And I would say that just let us know on that.
Yeah, my name is Hassan. I've been living in Clarkston for the last 27 years. I was probably number 1 immigrant that came to Clarkston. And most of the time, probably, the city council, the same subject. My question goes to the city manager, and following up stakeholders, and I think the people that we selected, you need more information. You selected somebody, because I don't see anybody that represents, the right information or the right, immigrants that's available here. And what you guys don't know is there's a lot of resources that you're missing if you do not get and sit down with, the immigrants, which is real at the present time. We have community, we have people, community leaders. We have a lot of resources that the city is not aware of. So I have seen now the city councils that actually, except Leona, which is my neighbor, that we talk all the time, that this is the first time I see that. Even the mayor himself is happy to see, for the community and community meetings with the different cultures, the different people, and the different nations. Every nation has a community, but we always communicate. City Clarkston is always listening. Thank you.
Most of the communities that invite me, because I have to get to be pleading, please keep me involved. Every community that has invited me, I've gone. There are communities that don't invite me. Even the mosque outside the city invites me, and I go. But I'm very close to our refugee community and our immigrant community. So you say that you don't see me, all you have to do is pick up the phone, you call me, invite me, I'll be there. And our city manager can tell you, I do about 13 or 14 meetings a week on people that invited me to come. All of your agencies now have invited me. I've got to go to Catholic Charities this coming week. I've got to go to Lutheran services. I've got to go back to families, refugee family services for meetings. I have to go down to visit Mr. Singleton, who is your refugee resettlement coordinator for the city. So please don't say I'm not available, because I am.
Pardon me, I'm not complaining. What I'm saying is, this is communication mission. I mean, the city and its people, its citizens have to communicate. And we are ready to do that. We haven't seen anybody that the president. You're the government, right? That's the official. We voted for you, we put in the office. Just, okay, come on in, ask what do you need. If you need any information, there's a lot of things you don't know. So we are here to help you, but we need our officials to communicate.
If the same is sitting right there, we just sit with the city council myself. It's only
We need to move on. Let me just say, will you all commit to sitting down with me next week? Start the round of communication. I've been here 2 years trying to reach out to various groups, and not that successful. I am willing and motivated to do so. And so let's not make it seem like we're not going to work together. Sit down and talk to me, talk to the mayor, talk to the council people, get to know who we are and what we are really about, instead of hearing from other people, and then make your own assessments and judgments. Is that fair enough?
Okay, we got one more question. Take it back, Stephen.
Hi, my name is Charles. I saw on the list about annexation and then another comment about schools. I'm wondering if there was any discussion about creating a charter school within the district, which might create a buzz or a benefit for being in the city, so that the adjacent property owners might, look at a ballot initiative and say, well, I really want to be a part of Clarkston, kind of like the Decatur conversation, because their schools are so strong. So anyway, just a question about whether you focused on the process of annexation and whether the school conversation might be an avenue for helping that.
Well, we did talk about annexation, and I'll let someone else talk about that. Education was mentioned in passing, but I don't think any of us were expert enough to say we need to do a charter school. I mean, that is something I think for the city to look at, but that wasn't part of our expertise, let's just say, as far as getting into the details of how that might work.
Also on the school issue, since the city council does not control the school system, we didn't really feel it was part of our responsibility to make a recommendation that the city council couldn't control or really have any strong input in, so we didn't think that was fair to your elected officials to put them in that spot. As far as the annexation, we are going to be recommending in the report some very specific strategies and mechanisms for the city to consider as options for how to pursue the annexation strategy. There's a number of ways through the annexation law, through partnership and coordination with DeKalb County, as well as through outright border initiative, are ways that we could look at expanding the boundaries and diversifying the tax base of Clarkston, and that would do a great deal of providing the city the opportunities to have the quality entryways to make this a great place to live and to see.